Hi everyone, it's Mark Zerbola with First Phase Capital, and today we are bringing you an interview with the CEO of Harfang Exploration, Campbell. How are you doing, Jan?
Very good. Thank you very much. And thanks for having me, Mark. Nice to see you again.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So for those who don't know Harfang yet, could you introduce the company?
Well, we're a junior mining exploration company, so we're engaged in the early stage exploration projects and centered in Montreal and Quebec, so the province of Quebec, and then we have some gold projects in Ontario as well, on near the border of Quebec.
Okay, so could we go further and could you walk us through your portfolio of properties?
Sure. Historically, we've been a gold exploration company, and we've got four main exciting gold projects, actually early stage, but we think they're near discovery stage right now based on some of the work that we've done. We've got two up in James Bay, Quebec, and then we've got, as I just mentioned, two on northeastern Ontario near the border of Quebec. But we've also got our history is really in James Bay, so we've got what I consider as a strong portfolio of lithium exploration projects that we've developed over the past number of months, given all the excitement up in James Bay. And I would add that our gold projects also have discovery potential for lithium as well. So 11 projects up in James Bay, all ripe for discovery.
Okay, and so if we could go in more description, let's say out of all your projects, what project are you most excited about now and why?
So that's a question I wrestle with. So I would like to say that the lithium projects as a whole that we've got all have near-term discovery potential, and that's based on the fact that a lot of these pegmatites outcrop on surface. So it's going to be an exciting, next couple of months for us because any one of those could deliver a discovery. So from the gold side of things, we're working actively on Lake Monarch, which in our view is a Timmins lookalike geology. We made some discoveries last year, and then we did some drilling in March of this year and got some really interesting results. So looking forward to going back on that project this summer with a full field program. We've got some drill targets already on that one. We're just trying to develop more. So when we get the drill in there, we'll have a larger drill program. We've got Serpent Radisson to the south, which has, we've discovered over 50 gold showings, high-grade gold showings in the last number of years. But remarkably, last year we did a couple of days of prospecting and found what we think are LCT pegmatite dikes as well, with strongly anomalous tantalum and cesium. We need to find where the spodumene is in that system, but we only had 2 days last year, so excited to get out on that one as well. And just to touch base on the Ontario side, we've got Blakelock, which covers 15 kilometers of Casa Berardi structure along strike from an operating gold mine. And then we've got Egan, which is early stage, and we're developing that one into the drill target phase as well. So lots of exciting things. I know I didn't answer your question, but it's a difficult one to answer. I just get excited about a lot of things.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit more about the area, the James Bay area. We all know that it's very exciting with companies like PMET. There are lots of showings, lots of promises in the area. But what excites you most about the region?
I think what excites me most about the area, if you look at it on a map, it looks kind of small, but the reality is it's 400 kilometers north to south and 500 kilometers east to west. And the distribution of some of these major spodumene deposits actually is around the whole area. Up in the northeast with PMET at Corvette, and then down south you've got four deposits already outlined. What's happening now is that you see discoveries such as Q2 and Ophir over in our area, which is the northwest. And I think a little known fact is that there's actually spodumene dikes in the ore body at the Eleanor mine, and other spodumene dikes on that property as well. So the distribution is throughout the whole area that we see, but it's a big area and a large part of it remains unexplored for spodumene. It's never really had the focus for this kind of exploration. So I find that really exciting and really intriguing as a geologist, that there's a huge opportunity here to discover more spodumene dikes in the short term here, as well as what we see the whole play developing. We saw Ford come in to the Whabouchi deposit. We've seen Rio Tinto do some really spectacular deals with Midland and Azimut. It's really attracting attention. So my view is it's a hotspot for North America for lithium exploration, but it is really underexplored for that for spodumene dikes.
And given the recent wildfires spreading through Quebec, how do you intend to schedule your summer exploration program?
Yeah, so I mean, the field season really starts in June. We leave May alone in respect of the Cree for goose hunting. So that's when the fires started, and you know, you got about 4 months maybe in through mid-October. So you know, it's the fire situation is I've been in the business for 40 years. I've never seen anything like this. It's quite unusual. And
Mhm.
so we've now jammed up the field season. We're still going to get all our work done. It's just that nobody's going to get any holidays between now and October, and we've rescheduled things. And we're allowed to we can gain access to some of the projects that have road access, and we're waiting for helicopters to be released now from the firefighting situation. But we've redone the schedule. We've got a good team, and so everybody knows the importance of getting out there and doing the work. So while it's been delayed, I don't think it's going to affect us in any negative effect at the end of the day.
Okay. So you know what? Let's just get to know more about your team. But first about you. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience and history within mining?
So my experience is 40 plus years, let's call it, in junior mining exploration with companies typical of the stage that Harfang is at. I find that's the most exciting part of the business. Actually, it's the discovery stage, and it's the best bang for your buck from a shareholder's perspective, as far as I'm concerned. So lots of experience, a lot of it with gold, lots of it, almost of it in Canada. And I did have 6 years of lithium exploration actually back in the late 1990s and early 2000s, and that was in northwestern Ontario. And I actually learned from the experts because it was near the Tanko mine, and these are the guys that wrote all the models that everybody's using today for lithium exploration. They've withstood the test of time. So good experience on that front. Harfang went through a merger last year with a company called LaSalle, and I came over from LaSalle. But the Harfang team has extensive, I would say, the most experience in James Bay, and the roots are with Virginia Gold, which discovered the Eleanor mine. So from an operational and geological expertise perspectives, I think, you know, our team has probably one of the most, if not the most, experience in the region. It's led by Francois Huot. He's our VP of exploration. We have a nice exploration office in Quebec City. We have 4 full-time geologists with us. We brought one over from the Comte Sorem last year, about a year ago today, I guess. And so we've got really good experience, and a couple of the geologists were actually on the discovery team for the Eleanor mine. So we're really well set up for exploration in James Bay.
Oh, it sounds very exciting. So you know what? Now let's discuss your financials. Could you tell us what is your current cash position? You know, like how do you use it? You also did a recent financing, so if you could develop this as well.
Yeah, we're in a really strong financial position. Actually, a lot of my colleagues, are quite envious of the way Harfang is sitting here. We've got about 6.3 million in hard dollars, another 500,000 in flow through. We did $1 million worth of flow through this year already, and then cash and some receivables through tax credits and HST and things like that. We've got another $500,000-600,000. So all in all, we're well over $7 million as we speak. So it's we're in good shape, and we're obviously well funded for the program that we're going to run this summer. And the program we're running this summer is about $1.2 million, which isn't a lot of money, but we're going to cover a lot of ground and hopefully make that discovery. And that's the most efficient way to deploy the capital.
Awesome. And so let's talk the other side of the financials, so the share structure, because it's very important for investors. So could you tell us what is your share structure, if you guys have any warrants, options, the percentage held by insiders?
Sure. So we've got about 63 million shares fully diluted. Let's call it 60 point and change shares outstanding. There's about 3 million in warrants and options outstanding as well. And so it's a pretty tight share structure. Actually, we've got 7% ownership on the insiders. We're well held by the Quebec institutional funds, and they own about 25% of us. And they're really big supporters. They've seen, they support us because they've seen the success in the past from the team, and they know that we're all about making discoveries in Quebec. We have share ownership by Osisko Gold Royalties, Pan American Silver, and somebody else. No, about 2% from Pan American Silver, Osisko, And also Crescat owns 2% of our stock. They came in on one of the projects that I spoke about on the gold side in Ontario 2 years ago. So it's a good share structure, actually. Yeah, solid.
Also, I'm pretty sure investors will be delighted to hear all of these. And now, because we said a lot, so could you summarize and say what are the company's highlights and strengths going into the summer?
Well, I think the highlights and the strengths are together in that we've got a really strong presence in James Bay from both the gold and the lithium side. And remarkably, a lot of the projects that we have, well, the gold ones I've already spoken to with respect to hosting lithium potential, and we've demonstrated that on Radisson Serpent. And I should add that the Ophir and the Q2 discoveries, they've confirmed that they've got spodumene are just 25 kilometers along strike from our Lake Menard property. So if you follow the geology up towards us, that part of the geology in the belt is unexplored. So, we're quite excited about getting out there and seeing if there's pegmatite dikes up there as well. So the strengths are the treasury, and Quebec is the best jurisdiction as far as I'm concerned in Canada for the whole mining ecosystem, especially down at the level that we're at from a junior mining perspective. They're really, really supportive. First Nations are on side and the infrastructure is there. So, I mean, we're really well set up from an exploration perspective here, and hopefully we'll make a discovery in the next month or two now that we've started exploration again.
Okay, and so again, so what investors could expect in the short term and midterm?
Well, we had news out yesterday announcing that we've gone up to one of our projects called Lamar, which has 7 outstanding lake sediment anomalies for lithium. So we'll start the prospecting there. And the way the situation is with the fires in James Bay is, I think the worst is over. The weather's getting better. It's getting a little bit cooler, and there's more rain. So we'll just move north and get on with the entire program. So from a news flow, it's been a little bit quiet from a news flow perspective, which is unfortunate since our whole field season was in James Bay. But the news flow is going to really pick up, I would think, in mid-August now, as we get out there and start getting results back and carry right through till Christmas. And it should be exciting. And hopefully we'll get to that drill stage, in October as well. So keep it going. So once you get the momentum going, you don't want to lose it.
Okay, and so what? Let's think in the long run. Let's say let's give us 5 years. What would you see the company at in 5 years? Let's say, would you see them producing or bought out or exploiting other assets?
Well, I certainly don't. Our goal here is to make a discovery and make ourselves attractive for takeout. I think that's a fundamental goal that most people would have in a company like this. If it gets into a development stage, then that's okay too. We are smart enough to know what we know, and there'll just be an evolution of the management team to bring anything into production. But I would say our fundamental primary goal, which we've done in the past, is to make that discovery and leverage that for the shareholders.
Okay, and so far, are there anything else you'd like to let investors know about the company?
Well, I would just say that we've been hit a little bit unfairly, I think, recently in the market. There's been a lack of news with the fires and everything. So, the last real news that we had out was probably in May, which was the results of the drill program. The market hasn't been all that great to many people, but I think from our perspective, I think we were a little bit more affected than most, particularly up in the James Bay region, and that's the whole thrust of the program. So it's a really good buying opportunity. As far as I'm concerned, given the share structure, the strength of the team, and the treasury, and the fact that we're about to embark on a multi-project exploration program here and hopefully serve up a discovery in the short term.
Okay, thank you. And now let's say, investor want to have more information. How can they reach out to you or have more information?
Well, I'd say Harfang Exploration, they can Google that, and they'll find us in a Google search for sure. But on any news release, my name is down there as the main contact. You'll see my email address, but you'll also see my cell phone, and you can reach me directly. I love to chat to investors. That's what I do all day long.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So it was the last question of our interview. Thank you a lot for your time, Jan. I really appreciate having this conversation with you.
Thanks very much, Mark, and I look forward to updating you in the coming months as things ramp up for us.
Awesome. Thank you.